What's up? What's the word?
As we transition, I'm gonna get Jay. I'm gonna give you your little solo because everybody know Ryan Garcia has been tweaking. I don't personally want to get him so much of my thoughts, but you did say some shit that you wanted to address, and I think that was very profound for you to speak on this. So the floor is
Man, y'all got me on
You
the
just
still
don't do it
camera.
right.
Just no, I just think that a common pattern that I see within my own community. If y'all can y'all a common pattern that I see within my own community, the Hispanic community, is we see stuff like this happen all the time, and there's never really conversation
Stuff
amongst.
like what? For the people who don't
So
know.
pretty much, Ryan Garcia he went on a racist rant. I think it was over the weekend or last week. Um, I just feel as though, like, when it comes to these things, one, we don't, as a community, hold our people accountable for certain things that they do and say. A lot of it being anti-black stuff. We even look at what happened last year with, and I don't mean to bring it up like because it's old, but the Erica Mena situation. And there's a lot of these things happening within our communities with people of, stature, or just people within our own community, regular people. And a lot of the times, I don't think that we necessarily hold each other accountable. And with that, even with this situation, I didn't really see too many. My issue mainly is people who have platforms, especially Hispanic people who have platforms that see this type of stuff and don't speak on it, don't create a conversation amongst each other, because at the end of the day, we see these things happen. A lot of us benefit or are in black spaces and don't speak to our own people about the things that are going on and the things that are being said, whether it's publicly or within, our own rooms. And I just think that for specifically people who have a voice, specifically people who, especially if you benefit off of being in black spaces, there is an accountability that you should have within your own community to speak up about these things, to kind of combat the anti-blackness that goes on within our communities. And so for this, seeing this specifically, and even seeing the thing that happened last year with Erica Mena, I just can't understand and cannot fathom how people who have voices in, and have platforms, and I won't name specific people, but just in general, if you have a platform, you should be using that platform to speak out when these things happen. And I don't see it. So it's a little frustrating.
You haven't seen it at all.
I don't know. I have not seen not one Hispanic person say anything with this, say anything, or pose a bigger question. I mean, pose a bigger conversation, because we all know that Ryan has some type of mental illness, and so, or that's what he's saying.
Okay, because that was gonna be my next question as to like why do you think that he's so comfortable speaking out on
Because these
things that happen
conversations,
with
whether people
black
want to admit it
people
or
that
not, these conversations happen in the Hispanic community. They're not,
Mhm.
this is not addressed publicly, but I see them, or I see the microaggressions. I see and a lot of the times these are people who, again, like I said, are in black spaces. And so for me, I also feel like there's always these conversations, especially amongst social media, when it comes to like our communities coming together. And a lot of the times I see where, there, a prime example was like something on Love and Hip Hop, where one of the girls was like doing a retreat for all black women, and there was a Hispanic woman in the group, and she didn't,
I remember
yeah,
that.
she didn't,
Yeah,
she felt some type of way because she
she didn't
wasn't
get
invited.
invited.
This is my thing. A lot of the times, these conversations of our communities, and when Hispanics are left out of certain things, or even when it comes to like, political stuff, like, oh, y'all are not helping us fight for whatever, whatever. We love to throw this in, or like say like we're not a part of it, but then when stuff like this happens, we don't partake in the conversation, or we don't
Don't
figure out
speak on it.
ways to
Right.
make a difference within our community, to have these difficult conversations that people don't want to have, because then that means what? A lot of the times you'll hear a Hispanic say something that is like microaggression or sounds racist, and then they'd be like, but I'm not racist. What you call that? what what do you call that when you say certain things, or when you say
Ooh.
I can't think of like specific things at this moment, but I do know that these microaggressions and these conversations happen within our communities. And so him being comfortable to say that on a public
Yeah.
platform is because these things were already happening within his group, within
Yeah.
whoever he's around.
Yeah. Because I know the conversation with this might be a little too raunchy, but I watch Baddies on
Hmm.
Zeus, and there's a girl in there named
Yeah.
Big Gretchen. I think her name is. She not big, but I believe she's like part Hispanic, part
Hmm.
Caucasian or something. But she said she has black children, and it was going viral on the internet because every time she would get into it with one of the girls
Hmm.
on the episode, like the N word just came out, and literally they'll be like, "You cannot say this word," and she'll revert back to saying, "Well, I was brought up like this." And they were trying to explain to her, like, we understand that, but we're literally politely trying to tell
Hmm.
you, you can't use this word around us because it makes us feel
Hmm.
a type of way. And she just kept. She
Yeah.
hasn't stopped. The season's still going. She
Yeah,
still
and
ain't stopped.
that is something, again, we go back to, i- if someone is telling you, don't, like, you would feel some type of way if somebody called you a Hispanic slur. Whether you're using it in endearment or not, or you grew up using it because y'all playing around, and I'm not like, you know, I've had these playful things have happened before. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that and say that that has never happened. It has happened. I've heard people, whether of a different race that are not Hispanic, call Hispanic a slur in a playful way. But here's my thing: if somebody is coming to you and telling you, "Hey, I don't like this. Can you not say this?" and there's pain attached to that word,
You should be
you
able
should
to
be able to
respect that.
respect whatever they're saying, and vice versa. So I think how we, everybody talks about these conversations of how we, black and brown need to stick together and we need to be allies for each other, but we can't be allies until we start dismantling this anti-black stuff that goes on within our communities. We can't be allies if,
And we have to learn how to respect
yeah,
each
like,
other.
we cannot, and if we don't respect each other's, communities and cultures, and we don't hear, like, because I think that's a thing too within, especially when it comes to black women speaking, a lot of the times other women of other races, they don't want to hear it, especially if it's the truth and they're being called out for something. So I think even within that,
Preach.
Yeah.
there's just so many things that you have to dismantle, and layers that you got to peel back, and it starts within the communities first. And that's just my thought process in it.
It definitely does.
Hey, what's up? What's the word?